victim one in the Jerry Sandusky case is, he went to go see a psychologist, and the psychologist is now talking to USA Today, kind of explaining what that victim went through. Now, USA Today is not identifying that victim, the psychologist is not identifying that victim, but with permission from victim one, the psychologist is talking about what that victim experienced. And the most telling part of this story is what the victim experienced when he first went to authorities back in 2008. And, some of the horrible, horrible things that people in his community were telling him, people in the school were telling him. It turns out that Jerry Sandusky was a coach within the high school, and he was, coaching some of the high school students in football or whatever it is. And at that time, everyone loved him. They thought he was this great guy. And when the victim came forward with these accusations, the entire town was against him, to the point where he received death threats. His family received death threats.
Now, look, if somebody does an allegation of someone you know and that you thought was a good guy, it's understandable that you get defensive about that, and it's possible that the kid made it up. It's not like it's never happened before. Kids sometimes make up stories. But wouldn't it occur to you that it is actually incredibly likely that the kid didn't randomly make up a story about a beloved coach, about an incredibly traumatic thing that happened to the kid? Like, wouldn't you also have an instinct of like, whoa, that's an awfully strange thing to make up. I wonder if he's telling the truth. I wonder if we're attacking this kid who, suffered some terrible crime against him. I'm amazed by people's viciousness day in and day out. How do you like apparently the instinct that we have as human beings to beat up the powerless that's an unlimited instinct, and it repulses me. Is
it a human instinct, or is that something that is pushed by media and pop culture in the United States? Like, that's something that I'm very curious about.
No way, human instinct. Let me tell you a story, okay, where I had the upper hand. I get in a fight. I got this kid down, okay? The whole junior high school is around us. It's like a scene out of a movie, right? And now, in the beginning, I was losing, and they were telling him, kill him, kill him, kill him.
Jeez.
Then I start winning, and I get him down. The crowd flips. It's amazing. Human nature is an amazing thing. They flip, and then they start telling me, hit him again, hit him again. He's on the ground. He's gone. He's done, okay? And he already did the thing that kids do when they fight, I give up, right? So he gave up. The fight's over. They're like, hit him again, hit him again. Kill, exactly, like in the Coliseum, JR's going, kill, 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 right? That's a sick human nature. That's why when the powerful coach says, yeah, this kid, ha ha, he, everybody's like, yeah, get him, yeah, you loser, ha ha.
Yesterday we taped an episode of The Point, and one of the topics that we talked about is how we can convince young people to fight against injustice and speak out against injustice and bullying. And, I feel like you can sit people down, especially, young people, and tell them, look, it's cool to fight against injustice. But the reason why I brought up the whole thing about the media is because we have groups of people in this country right now that are fighting against injustice. We have the Occupy movement, right, which has fizzled out a little bit. But still, when they were in their prime, they were bullied. They were put down in the media. And is it a human instinct, or is it because there are always incentives to do so?
Now, sure, of course, it's a combination, especially in the case of the media, where they're literally paid by corporate advertisers, so their paycheck is in service to the establishment, right, including the banks, et cetera, right? But that being said, it's also part of human nature to say, oh, yeah, you're powerless? Well, I'm going to pile on.
It's
because
ridiculous.
You know why? Because a lot of people are cowards. That's just the reality of it. So if someone is powerful, they're afraid, and they don't want to try to take that person on or that entity on because they're afraid. But if someone doesn't have power, then they feel like, yeah, this is when I could be a tough guy, and this is when I can get him. And I wish we weren't like that. But and when I say we, it's in our, apparently to some degree, it's in our DNA.
Now, Michael Gillum, who was the psychologist for victim number one, talks about the public backlash. And he says the public backlash was almost immediate and jarring. Within weeks, the boy's mother reported to state investigators that she was confronted in a Lock Haven business by an unhappy local resident who had learned that her son had been linked to the allegations, triggering Sandusky's removal as a volunteer. The child's identity spread rapidly through the community, making him and his mother the target of harassment and ultimately threats of harm by locals upset that Sandusky had been dismissed from the school. I mean, that's just incredible to me.
You knuckleheads, doesn't it occur to you that the kid might have been raped and then you're going to harangue him after that? I mean, even if you're unsure, why would you go and verbally assault a kid that you're unsure might have been raped by his coach? What the hell's the matter with you guys?